You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 285, The Hidden Freedom in Letting Go, Why We Cling to People Who Don't Choose Us. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, my beautiful brave hearts. Today we're talking about something that has been heavy on my heart lately. I want to talk about the hidden freedom that comes with letting go and releasing, and why do we cling so desperately to people who don't choose us? And I had this realization recently that really just stopped me in my tracks. I just have to share it with you. I caught myself doing something in my own life that made me think like, holy shit, this is exactly what happens when we can't let go of our exes. And I want to tell you what happened. So I had been holding on to this house. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know a little bit about this already. But I had two properties, and like one of the two properties I own, and I kept telling myself I shouldn't sell it. Meanwhile, I'm literally trying to create something very specific. I can't share it here, but I'm literally trying to create overflow in my life. And selling this home would actually create that overflow that's needed. And I was on this walk, voice memoing with my coach, and I was like, oh my gosh, Dorothy, I cannot be mad that I don't currently have the overflow if I'm not willing to make the choices and decisions that create said overflow. Like, I'm in the middle. I'm in the in-between right now in regards to where I am and where I want to go, like where I started and where I'm trying to go. I'm in the middle. And so I'm going from where I was to where I want to be, which is overflow. And to get there, I have to start making decisions that create overflow. It just seems so obvious when I say it out loud, right? But my brave hearts. Now, this is exactly what happens with our exes. And when I was describing this to my coach, I'm like, oh my God, I hear myself because I literally see this with my clients all the time. We cling to relationships that don't serve us, to people who choose to walk away, and then we wonder why we can't create the love and happiness we're desperate for in a romantic life. Think about it. Right? I have two homes. I'm not like, oh my gosh, the one, like neither one is like, oh my gosh, this is my forever home. This is it. This is amazing. So why am I keeping the one that is financially more expensive to me? Why am I holding on to something that doesn't serve my present or my future? And the answer is the same reason we hold on to exes who don't want to be with us or don't treat us in the way we want to be treated. It's because of emotional attachment, right? The fear of letting go, the comfort of the familiar, even when the familiar is causing us pain. So much. And I say it's costing me, right? Financially more expensive. It's emotionally and energetically more expensive to my resources. But here's the breakthrough that I have been finding. Letting go of this house makes more space for what I actually want rather than having two things that I don't want. I'm going to say that again. I'm giggling a little bit because it sounds so obvious when I say it out loud. Letting go of this house makes space for the house that I do want rather than having two of the things that I don't want. Like, you got to have two really not great boyfriends, and that's keeping you from creating the one epic boyfriend that you actually want. Again, giggling because it's so obvious when we say it out loud, right? So in your breakup, right, it's no different. And what I'm realizing is that when you hold on to someone who's chosen to leave your life, essentially what I'm seeing is you're keeping probably like 3 different versions of what you don't want when you're holding on to that. You're first keeping the memory of a relationship that didn't work out, right? The past. I always think about those of you who are like, well, he was everything that I wanted. You're like holding on to that part. You're also then holding on to a present reality of being stuck in a limbo of that back and forth. And then lastly, you're holding on to the potential version of your ex, right? That fake reality that you're hoping will like come to form. The potential version. You're holding on to 3 different things that are not what you want, that are blocking you for what you do want. And none of these versions serve you. None of them create the love and the joy that you're seeking when it comes to your romantic love and partnership. And what if releasing your emotional mortgage, since we're using our homes as examples here, what if releasing your emotional mortgage to your ex is making room for what you actually want? Even if your current reality, right, the current being this breakup or being single, even if that's not everything that you want. What if releasing what you don't want creates room for what you do want? Now, I love this part. We need to talk about this in between for a second, a little bit further. My Mac Daddy house. This is what Jake and I call it. We talk about it and we say, our Mac Daddy house has everything that we both want, because this is why we're in this dilemma in the first place. My husband has a house, Jake, he has a house. I have a house. He has everything that he wants in his house. Not everything, but a lot of. And I have a lot of what I like in my house, but it doesn't have like the primary things that he needs that he has in his house, and vice versa. So we're just caught in this weird conundrum. And so we always talk about our Mac Daddy house, and our Mac Daddy house has enough room for all the kids that we want. It has the garage that he desires. It has the interior kitchen that I love. It has everything that we desire. Okay. That, when I realized I'm actually just in the middle, right? I'm in this in between. I'm not where I started with no homes. I'm not where I want to end with my Mac Daddy house. I'm in this in between moment. And I realized, like, if I just acknowledge and bring myself the awareness of this is my in between moment, I actually really love my in between moment. The house that we are currently in is amazing. It has high quality workmanship on it. It's a conservative cost. It's well taken care of. Literally none of it is my responsibility, which I love for energy purposes. I don't have to worry about paying, the payments. I don't have to worry about the electricity bills. I don't have to worry about any of it. It's all taken care of. And I don't have to deal with the mowing the lawn or being a landlady of any sorts. Like, this is like the most low maintenance thing for me personally to do, which I love. What a great in-between spot, a low maintenance situation, right? And I realized it had me thinking about a lot of times that I was in my in-between era, we might call it, when I was showing up and building my business that would eventually be my full-time job. I had 2 jobs. And of course, it wasn't where I started and it wasn't where I wanted to end, right? The starting was having 1 job where I wasn't making enough money, working a lot of hours, doing something I didn't love. The end game was to have a full-time business where I was making a huge impact, working remote, had time freedom, had financial freedom. And I was in the middle, and that middle looked messy. That middle was having 2 jobs, making more, but also working like about the same, right? There was that in between, but it was a beautiful in between. I was so grateful to have that in between where I was making my way and making my progress. And then the same thing with like my coaching. I mean, another example is I evolved from one-on-one to group, and there was a time where I had both, right? And I think about the singleness after a breakup. That might be an in-between, right? What if instead of seeing the singleness of a breakup as a failure or something to rush through and get through, but you saw it as your perfect in-between, the necessary thing, and maybe, dare I say, exciting part, that space between your past and your future. The way I'm seeing it, right, is like your starting point is I'm in a relationship with the wrong person. Your in between is not in any relationship, and your end game is being in a relationship with your perfect partner. So this in between time, it's not a punishment, it's preparation. It's not wasted time. It is the exact runway that you need to take off toward what you truly want. So then the question becomes, one of the biggest things I think we need to talk about here is, why do we cling to people who don't choose us, right? And I speak to this a lot throughout this podcast, but I'm going to sum it up here. First, we cling to people who don't choose us because we've created a reward loop in our brain. Every time we think about your ex, or you reminisce about the good times, or you fantasize about them coming back, we get a little hit of dopamine, and that same neurochemical that drives addiction. Second, we've attached our identity to the relationship. I'm his girlfriend, or I'm her husband. It became part of how we see ourselves, and letting go feels like losing a piece of our identity. Third, we're afraid of the unknown. The pain of our broken relationship is familiar. So we know its contours, right? We know it. But the unknown future without them, that's terrifying. So, right? The unknown is terrifying. The familiar is comforting. And fourth, this one's the kicker, we think that holding on somehow keeps us connected to them, right? As if our grip on the memory is the last thread that's connecting us to what we've lost. It's really hard, right? But the truth is, Braveheart, your grip on the past and on someone who's not choosing you is actually the chain that's keeping you from your future and from being with someone who would choose you. And when you release what no longer serves you, whether it's a house that's draining you or your ex who's drained your energy, you create space for what you truly want to flow into your life, right? Letting go and releasing isn't giving up. It's not admitting defeat. It's making a very powerful choice to stop investing in what's already proven that it won't give you returns. And you're saying yes to what you've been saying you so desperately want. Like you're saying, oh my gosh, I want this so much. Just like I'm saying, hey, universe, I want overflow, but I'm not willing to make the decision of letting go of the one thing that's not creating overflow. You're saying, I want the love of my life, but you won't make the decision to release the person who's not the love of your life. Mind blown. Mind-blowing moment, my friends. So how do we start letting go or releasing to that grip, to that clinging? And I want to give you 3 steps that you can try today or this week, okay? Step 1, identify your in-between. What does your in-between actually consist of? When I got clear about what my in-between was, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, oh snap. When I realized and I noticed that this is my in-between, I kind of love it. I call back all of my time and my energy, my effort, my resources, my money. I get to call all of that back by releasing this one thing. It feels very safe, high quality, easeful. I love it. So if you viewed your journey as the start, where I'm starting is I'm in a relationship with the wrong person, your in-between is I'm with no person, and your end is I'm with the person, the right person. What is that in-between? Right? I'm single. I get to choose where I live, what I do with my time. I have no one to report to. Those sound amazing. What specifically is your in-between? And then step 2, taking that even deeper and asking yourself to identify, why is my in-between great? What if this single period wasn't a wasteland to rush through, but a sacred preparation ground? Right? How is it the perfect runway to being with the right person? What makes it perfect for you? What makes it a perfect in-between space for you? Why is it great? And then number 3, let yourself just sit with these realizations. I know for a fact, with all the people that I've helped, when it comes to getting over your ex, forcing yourself to let go just creates pressure and urgency and fear that is not needed. Allow yourself to simply just sit with the realization that, in fact, maybe I'm in the in-between. I'm not going to be here forever. It might not be everything I want it to be right now, but it doesn't mean I won't get everything that I want in the future and then some. And how can I find that the in-between is actually kind of great? Can I sit with that for a while and not rush to do something with it or about it? All right, my brave hearts, remember, you can't be mad that you don't have the life or the love or the overflow that you want if you're not willing to make the choices that create it, okay? You can't say, I want the love of my life, but you're not willing to make the decision to release the person who's not the love of your life, all right? Your ex isn't holding you back. It's the grip that you have on them that does hold you back, okay? And there are 4 reasons we grip so tightly to those people. Remember, 1, the reward loop in our brain. 2, we've attached our identity to the relationship. 3, we're afraid of the unknown. And 4, we think it somehow keeps us connected. So find and identify your in-between and how that in-between is perfect for you. And when you finally release that grip, you'll find something miraculous waiting on the other side of it, all right? Not just the freedom from your pain, but the freedom to create everything you ever wanted with or without the person who walked away, okay? Because we as brave hearts build lives that are bigger and better than the one that we had with our ex, regardless of whether or not our ex is in our life, okay? All right, I believe in you. I love you. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.